What's up, vaqueros? What's up, Gumi Gang? However you want to be called. Welcome back to the channel, and today's video is so exciting for me because we're talking about probably my new favorite shotgun in the game, at least for Warzone, the Lockwood 680 pump action. This thing is an absolutely amazing pump action and probably the best pump action we have in Warzone currently. Now I'm going to share with you guys some basic stats, a good class to use for this thing that's just amazing and so fun. I'll give my overall thoughts and just some details on the gun overall. So of course, timestamps will be in the description below if you just want to hop to the class setup. I will leave a timestamp for that, but otherwise let's just go ahead and hop into it, starting with some basic numbers and details about this amazing shotgun. So why is this pump action a god tier shotgun now compared to the other ones? Well, let's take a look first at the damage. Of course, this is a pump action. You're going to deal 200 damage per shot up close and personal. You deal about 70 damage per pellet, but of course there is a cap, so you only do 200. That's why you're not one-shotting anybody with how crazy the damage can get. Now, one of the interesting things about this damage range is that it extends out to about 6 meters. So out to about 6 meters or so, you'll still be doing 200 damage up close. That's kind of crazy. Now, if we compare that to the Bryson 800, the next best pump action, then what do we get? We only get about 3.3 meters for that, where you can deal 200 damage. So already the Lockwood is proving to be a little bit better, not even a little bit, a lot better than the Bryson 800, just for that one fact, but it gets better, I promise. So another really awesome thing about this gun is the two-shot potential. Of course, with pump actions, that two-shot is really what you want to be striving for, and you want it to always have a good range for that two-shot. So this thing by itself, no attachments, can two-shot out to about 8.5 meters. Now compare that to the base Bryson 800, which is only out to 5.1. That is a big oof. That is a huge difference, really. I know it seems like it's not much, but in shotgun terms, that's kind of a big deal to have that much of a difference when it comes to your two-shot potential. And that's without any attachments. And with that first barrel you can equip, or even the last barrel, your two-shot range goes out to about the 9 to 10 meter mark. With the bigger barrel that has 10 rounds, it's about the 9.8 meter mark. With the first barrel, it's shooting past 10. I can't get an exact number because we can't see anything in detail past 10 meters. So it's around that 10 meter mark. Now, the damage and ranges isn't the only reason I think this is the best pump action. First of all, another important factor is the time to kill and the rate of fire. So with the base Bryson 800, just for comparison, you get about 75 rounds per minute, but if you put on the Demo X50 Tactical, you get about 79 rounds per minute. So that takes your time to kill for a two-shot, which is the important metric here, to about 759 milliseconds. Now, when we're talking the Lockwood 680, when we put on that bolt that gives us a better fire rate, it takes our rate of fire up to 89 rounds per minute. And that time to kill for that is about 670 milliseconds. And that's kind of a ballpark figure on what I could calculate by hand. So to compare those time to kills in a lot of SMGs that are around that 500 to 600 millisecond mark, even though this is a pump action, your 670 millisecond time to kill is not that far off. Like, it's really, really not that bad. Yes, this is still an unforgiving gun compared to SMGs and ARs, but the fact that it's not as unforgiving is another important factor for why this thing is the best pump action in the game. You have a little bit more margin for error, and to me, honestly, there were parts where I missed a shot and I was still able to get a two-shot in because of how fast this thing could shoot. No, it's not the VLK Rogue, but it is surprisingly fast, and sometimes you kind of catch yourself off guard with how fast it can actually shoot and get that second shot off. Two other quick things I want to mention in passing that are also very, very good for this gun. One, you can get 10 pellets with this gun if you use that last barrel, the Lockwood Heavy Defender barrel, which makes the consistency feel a lot better. And two, you can kit this thing out for having such a tight spread when you're using tac stance or even hip fire that it's incredibly consistent. And to me, this is another huge factor for how good this gun is how consistent it is when you have such a tight spread. If you're just kitting it out for tac stance and not going all the way, but just have a few attachments that help the tac stance, it is incredibly tight. And you can challenge people so far and actually get consistent 2 to 3 shots. And it's just so good. You guys have to try it out. Now, I do want to talk briefly about Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath is okay on this shotgun, but I think you're better off with just the base ammo for a few reasons. Yes, up close you deal more damage. You're dealing like maybe 220 to 230. It just depends. The burn is kind of weird and random for whatever reason, but you do deal more damage up close and personal. However, overall, you're losing some two-shot range. It's not going nearly as far. Plus, after that two-shot range, it drops to a 4-shot which is going to be a little bit harder to make consistent. And also, you're having to spend an attachment on Dragon's Breath when you could use that for, I don't know, a better spread or getting faster mobility. So to me, I would just say avoid Dragon's Breath. It's not bad. It's just, why would you bother with that when you can use the base ammo and deal a lot better over ranges and just overall have more consistency? Now we've gotten to the point where I can share my class that I've been using. And this one, if you follow me on Twitter or on the COD Community app, shout out to them, you've seen this before, but this is the build I've been using. This is the 10 pellet build with a great rate of fire, and it has an incredibly tight tac stance build. You can catch people at far ranges and actually get consistent damage. It's kind of insane how effective this is. This is tac stance focused, which I believe is probably the meta way to go for shotguns. Tac stance is amazing for these things, but I do realize sometimes people prefer having mobility as opposed to having a tighter spread. If that's the case, I would just swap out that Bruin Bastion angled grip, swap that out for the Machuzek X-Ray skeletonized guard. That's going to give you a nice benefit to your movement speeds overall. It will make you just a little bit faster. Now, I know in the stats it says the Bruin Bastion angle grip helps your hip fire and your spread more than the Crown Breaker choke, but if you actually go in and compare the two, you'll see the Crown Breaker choke actually comes out on top when it comes to hip fire, and especially tac stance, you'll see that it actually comes out to having a tighter version of each. Now, even though it says in the in-game stats that the Bruin Bastion is actually better in those, it's not. For whatever reason, there's just a discrepancy there. So I would just swap out that Bruin Bastion for a guard if you want a little bit more mobility. Otherwise, this thing is a great build you guys have to try out. As for my overall thoughts on the shotgun, well, as you can tell, I'm a little bit excited about this one. I haven't felt this good about using a pump action in Warzone in quite a while. This is kind of harkening back to the OG days of Verdansk because you get such good fluid movement, which really does play an important role in how the game feels. And combine that with this shotgun, which has an amazing 2-shot potential, 10 pellets, 10 rounds. It's just the stars have kind of aligned in some ways, and this is a perfect storm. This is, without a doubt, one of the best pump actions we've had in quite a while. Now, I know we had those crazy, like, 15-meter 2-shot kills in Season 3 Reloaded of Warzone 2, which those are very good, and even though this doesn't shoot quite that far with a 2-shot, this is way more consistent, and this thing is incredibly deadly. You have great mobility. There's just not a lot bad I can say about this thing. Yes, the sprint to fire speed can feel a little bit slow with the Lockwood Defender barrel at times, but it's not unworkable. It's still totally manageable. You can still slide cancel and do crazy stunts around people, and it works super well. Overall, though, oh my god, I am so happy with this. This is such a good pump action. If you are a fan of pump actions at all and love that cat and mouse gameplay style, or having to finesse people and show them that you can move like a demon, this is the shotgun for you. Forget the Haymaker, forget the Riveter, forget the Brysons. This is the shotgun you want to show off with. This is the thing you guys need to be using now because, oh my god, it is so good, so much fun. So I'll stop dorking out about it now, but basically that's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, I want to know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on this shotgun? Do you guys like the Lockwood 680 as much as I do? Do you think I'm kind of overplaying it a little too much and it's not really that good? And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video.
What?